Everybody, Joey here from the Chart Guys. I've been a trader and technical analyst for 7 years, learning under Dan for 6 of them here at the Chart Guys, and I'm here to talk about some crypto. We've certainly got a lot of activity in the markets outside of crypto, mainly GME getting a massive day under its belt as Roaring Kitty or Deep Effing Value from Reddit, whatever you know him as. He's come out of the woodwork after going quiet for 3 years, and as a result, GME is popping. And as a result from that, we're seeing meme coins pop. And this brings up an important part of how the markets work. They're silly. They don't make sense. And this is why we focus on technical analysis, because it doesn't need to make sense. We've just got the levels and the patterns and the indications of what these breaks of levels and whatnot mean, and that's what we got our action on. Because why on earth is Pepe having a 15% day? Because GME is going because some guy who made an amazing trade on it 3 years ago tweeted something that isn't even about GME. It doesn't make sense. And the quicker you can realize that this is a silly game with cyber numbers flashing on the screens, then the quicker that you can make the game more simple for yourself. So that's what we've got going on in the market. We'll talk about the meme coins, or we'll just look at them right now. And this is another one of the interesting things is we've been talking on these streams about how Pepe is one of the lead bulls in the crypto space right now. Not many names V-shaped the flush from the second week of April. Very few names did that. Most names are just in 2-day EQs down at the lows. But Pepe gave us the signs early that it was a lead bull. Then it was looking like, all right, weekly lower high set, daily downtrend confirmed, V-shape. Okay, Pepe's still a lead bull. And then where we were talking last stream was, all right, daily higher low off the 12 EMA. Pepe's doing great. And here we are today among our main meme coins. It's up 3 times the percentage that the other ones are. And that's because of 2 different things. It's, largely it's because it is the lead bull. So then traders are going to say, all right, if I'm going to take this meme narrative and go for Pepe or go for some meme crypto coins, what am I going to go for? I'm going to go for the one that's closest to blue skies and has been showing the most relative strength. And that's what we've got here with Pepe, putting in a smacker of a day. Got decent days for the other meme coins. In a general sea of red elsewhere, we've got Bitcoin green. We've got the meme coins green. We've got a few token other coins green, which, lo and behold, are previous bulls that we've been talking about. AIOZ, is JUP one of our bulls? No, JUP is not. JUP is a tightening range. But TON, we were talking about last stream, that Downster brought up, another lead bull. And this is just such an important concept to understand, because professional traders are going to go for the lead bulls. Andrew Aziz, who authored the first trading book I ever read, How to Day Trade for a Living. And his example that he used for it is, if you're on the playground, you don't want to be in, oh gosh, I didn't go to the charts. Sorry about that. You all just got to look at my beautiful face instead of the charts while we were looking at it, but we haven't really done anything yet. But so Andrew Aziz, his analogy for it is when you are in the playground as a kid, you got all these sandboxes. You don't want to be in the sandbox where no one else is playing. You want to be in the sandbox where all the action's at. And that is how the markets work. Traders flock to names with relative strength to play bullish and names with relative weakness to play bearish. And that is a key part of the game. You don't want to be the only one trying to go for something. Like once in a while, it can really, it's like super high risk, high reward. You can go for a major league contrarian play once in a while and you can reap great rewards from it. But you got to be super picky when you're trying for those things, and you need all of the cards stacked in your favor in whatever metric you use that apparently no one else is using. So it's really not advised to try to do that. You want to stick to lead bulls long and lead bears short. And the market is showing that really clearly right now for us, because we've got some alts that are just continuing to bleed down here. Like if we look at SUI, we know it was a darling for quite some time. And as we were talking last stream, daily 12 EMA resistance, and despite Bitcoin being up 2.5%, despite meme coins being up a bunch, this thing just continues to bleed down. So you want to wait, and that's why I'm always talking about most of the time when you have an EMA rider like this, you just want to chill. Wait for it to get up and over, then fish your higher low and look for the trend change. It's no guarantee that it's going to work, but it saves you a bunch of bandwidth. It keeps your capital allocated in places that make sense. And in general, just makes the game more enjoyable, because we all know what it's like to be in a drawdown, to be stopping out of trades, doing this and that. It stinks. And that stuff can even bleed over into outside areas of your life. You just don't want to be doing it unless it's like serious risk to reward, and you're taking your like once a quarter, twice a year, once a year major contrarian play. And even that stuff, there's a lot of super successful traders who will never dabble around with trying to be the only kid in the sandbox. So that's the general scene that we've got here. And with all of these red alts, as you can imagine, Bitcoin dominance is quite green, telling us that in general, Bitcoin is leading the show. And we've got our weekly higher low set. Going to keep watching our weekly uptrend. I like the 2-week 12 EMA as our bigger picture guide here. And as long as this is going on, then there's no alt season. Alt season will be, hopefully, for crypto bulls. Alt season will be when we lose that 2-week 12 EMA and the space stays strong, Bitcoin's maybe going sideways, and then alts get to play some catch up. But for now, there's no real signs of it. And we've got a key new level here at 53.92 on BTC.D, and that is that. So despite the lackluster performance in the majority of alts, Bitcoin is trying to, let's go to our wedge chart. Bitcoin's trying to break this wedge to the upside. So one thing with wedges, we've got to respect that it's really just a visual guide. It's not, at least how I use them, how Dan uses them, it's not like a hard level that you're necessarily playing off of. So with this, have we broken out of the wedge? Well, yeah, with the current iteration of the drawing, but all we got to do is do that, and then we're still within the wedge. So it's best used in conjunction with price action levels. So we've got a nice move up, and that was after a super red flag of a day Friday. Last stream, where were we last stream? We were right here. We're saying, all right, bulls are looking great. Need the 4-hour uptrend. And this was like, we're looking at the 4-hour chart right now, but that's like one hourly candle. We just bogged right back down to the lows. Obviously, huge red flag in the short term there. But this is where dueling tactics can be helpful. And if you remember from last stream, we were talking about this value area from back here all the way back here. And this is what Chart Guys Lamont is a absolute wizard with. Essentially supply and demand and volume and auction theory, kind of derived from Jim Dalton's techniques with market profile. But this is our key area that we're working with. So despite the crap in the bed on Friday, we knew that unless bears can crack out the bottom of this value area low, then they're ultimately not proving anything. And look where bulls showed up, and now look where they're seeing a nice bounce from. So it can be difficult to add these tools to your tool belt over time. It just takes a lot of time. If we want to be sitting at a computer, pressing buttons in our pajamas and making money, then we need to have thousands and thousands of hours in. If you want to synthesize volume profile with regular trend-based price action while utilizing RSI and EMAs and moving averages, it takes time, because you need to specialize in each one of those to be able to say, all right, that's a tool that is now in my tool belt, and then I can deploy when necessary. And then even when you fill up your tool belt, you'll find that it's super difficult to choose what tool to deploy. How do you synthesize all of this stuff to give you a succinct view? I don't know if that's the word. Like just a view where everything makes sense, where you can actually have an edge from it, and you're not going through analysis paralysis, because that's the other side of the coin, where you have all of these tools and one's telling you to buy, one's telling you to sell, and you don't really know what to do, and you can make a great case for bears or bulls, and then it becomes very difficult to synthesize it into something actionable where you can be making money. So if you've got these tools and you're struggling to kind of use them all in conjunction with each other, it takes time, thousands of hours, and not like 2,000, 4,000, 5,000, like minimum 10,000. And then beyond that, the people that are really rocking and rolling with it are 20,000, 30,000 hours into this stuff. You got to be obsessed. You've got to put in the time if you are looking to do this smaller time frame dancing with the devil. There's nothing wrong with zooming out, keeping things simple, swinging, and that is the reality of what's going to work for most people. But people see what Dan does, what I do, what Lamont does, and they say, "Oh, I want to do that." And I think 98% of people can do that. There's a small percentage that have ultimately like unconquerable ego issues. Not that I think anything's unconquerable, but they're not willing to conquer it, and that will be one of the surefire things to have you fail at this. But I think anybody else can do it. You've just got to make the commitment and put the time in. So a little bit of a rant there. Nonetheless, Friday was a crapper, but Bulls have saved it. And now, what do we need to see Bulls do if we're going to believe that, all right, the fastest monthly high or low in history is shaping up off of all-time highs? And reminder of the stats, the average pullback on a monthly stair-step break out of all-time highs is 38%. We're down 4.5% right now. If you take the 80% outlier out of the data, it's 32%. Still way off of where we are at now. Does that mean we can't set the fastest monthly high or low in history? Obviously not. Anything can happen. If that's going to happen, Bulls need to get up over this value area high, hold it as support, and then work back up to all-time highs. That's what's necessary there. So we've got this key area that we're working with, and we've got the falling wedge that lets us know the psychology of, okay, well, if bears were all that, then they'd be seeing follow through down to lower lows. So we use this in conjunction to say, all right, bears are exhausting, but bulls aren't really proving it yet. Let's look for somebody to prove it. Either bears, pop up, reject from this value area high, plummet down, defend it as resistance, and then go to new lows. Then we say, all right, we're more within our historical norms of 32% pullback on a monthly stair-step break from all-time highs. That's what bears want to see. Bulls want to see the move up, come down, and get a daily trend change. So even if we break out of this wedge right now, let's say we do this all the way up like that and even break this resistance. That's great, but without a daily trend change, it really just doesn't mean much. We've seen strong bull moves. No daily trend change. No daily trend change, strong bull move, no daily trend change. As far as next resistance, we're looking at 63.5K, but frankly, I don't care about that. I don't care if we break that. I don't care if we break that. I want to see a daily trend change to believe something, because that is passing the torch back and forth. If you just go off of the lows, then you're catching the other team off guard, and that's fine, and it can yield some quick gains, but they're not sustainable gains, because after you get those gains as a bull, what you want to say is, all right, bears, here's the ball. What do you got? And then, so let's talk, draw it out. So quick gains, very nice. 5% move, 8% move off the low, whatever. That's awesome. Then you want to say, all right, bears, what do you got? You give them the ball back. It's like American football or something, or I suppose it could be rugby or any possession-based game where possession is sustained. You want to give the other team possession back, and then you want to stop them and then take it and then cross their line in the sand. And that is the psychology beyond a trend change. It's not just some random thing that people make up when they're talking about the charts. It's about proving that you have more power, and you give them that ball so that you can prove it. It's like the sucker punch analogy as well. Like any move without a trend change is ultimately a sucker punch. So if some big bully is standing there looking the other way and you walk up and you flop him in the side of the head, you're real tough for a moment while he is caught off guard, or she, and then they turn around and then you actually fight. you've got to overpower them, or else you just sucker punch them and it doesn't mean anything. And then when they have their footing, they are more powerful. So we need the trend change. We need the trend change. So what do we got here? We're coming up to 63.5. We have a 4-hour uptrend. Was looking 12-hour bear flaggy for a moment with these higher highs not seeing follow through, but ignited overnight. So we'll be looking for a 4-hour higher low. Anything over 60.7K would be one. Just watching the 4-hour stair step to keep it simple. If we do reject from here, I think I'll like it on the 12-hour. I believe we were talking about this last stream, but it could be a 12-hour inverse head and shoulders. And in my opinion, that's what bulls would want to see, or daily at this point. It's quite similar there, because if we reject from this resistance, then form a daily higher low and confirm an inverse head and shoulders, then that's our trend change. We can believe it a bit more. Because at the end of the day, we've still got bulls trying to cling on to this weekly 12 EMA, which has been our guide for months and months at this point. So that's what we're looking at on Bitcoin. ETH, similar falling wedge, but weak. It's so much weaker. So let's see. I guess we'll do like a 12-hour. A little funky with that outside bar, huh? We'll just stick with the daily. Kind of ignore that wick. Daily downtrend. Got this clear downtrend resistance line. Bulls got to get up and over. But more so than ETH USD, I care more about ETH BTC. And, back here, if you look on my Twitter, it's like, okay, nice move. Is it just another weekly 12 EMA rejection? And now 3 weeks later, it very clearly was. We're going back to the lowest levels. If we break this support here at 46.22, then we're back down to lowest levels since April 21. So ETH USD is not going to be the place to have your money, despite the falling wedge, despite whatever. It's not going to be the place to have your money as long as this ratio chart is weak. So daily downtrend, maybe 12-hour 12 EMA. Yeah, 12-hour 12 EMA, daily downtrend. And as long as that's the case, it's tough to be interested in ETH. So that just is what it is. LTC just continuing to tighten up on the 2-day, 3-day, whatever you want to look at. Not a lot going on there until we break out of this range. We've got resistance at 84.23, then 88.56, and support. I'm just looking at this 74.53 as we lose a little bit of clarity in here, but it's another one where the ratio chart is going to guide the way. So LTC, BTC, a couple days ago, it's like, oh, that's pretty good. On the daily, it doesn't look like much, but let's go back to the weekly. That was us coming up to the weekly 12 EMA, which we know is our guide here. And it was like, okay, maybe bulls are going to do it. And they're not doing it. They're rejecting from it again. So that just is what it is, and tough to be interested in any of these alts that have the forever bleeding ratio charts. You don't got to nail the bottom on it. And that's just that simple. So another notably weak name, Pendle, losing weekly 12 EMA. Technically happened last week, and one of our alts that has gone down to lower lows. So we've got a bit of a toss-up here at this point where we've got strong alts that broke their 2-day EQs to the upside. And we've got weak alts now that are starting to go to lower lows. So in the one sense, it doesn't give us a lot of directional clarity for the space as a whole, because it's kind of nice when you have like 2-day EQs for everybody, and then one by one, they're just all popping off to the upside. You can look at the ratio charts to figure out who's got the next setup to go. And then, that's a nice way to go about it. But when you have the differing signals, some going to lower lows, some going to higher highs, some still in EQ, you don't have as much of an overall directional bias for the space. But what that does do is it opens up the door for, if you're a hater or whatever, I shouldn't call it a hater, but if you're a bear, you got weak names to pick on. We already talked about Sui. Pendle's now showing some exceptional weakness. So bears can be picking on that. Bulls are picking on the stronger names. They're not picking on, but riding the stronger names. So let's see if this is another 12-hour 12 EMA. Yeah, 12-hour, but then now down to 4-hour. So it's just going to be the zoom out game. You got to get over 4-hour 12 EMA, then we're looking to 12-hour, then you got to get over the 12-hour, then we're looking to daily, and that is just that. So do we have monthly consolidation? We do now. So we'll be looking for a monthly higher low on Pendle, but these things take time. And y'all remember, we were looking at it. We were looking for it on INJ. Where'd that stinker go? I got called out for calling it a turd last stream, or not called out, but it had like a little pop, and someone, Ian, which much love Ian, no hate, but he tweeted at me saying, "Oh, you marked the bottom on INJ by calling it a piece of crap," and whoops, we're back to being a piece of crap. So y'all know that I was hunting for this INJ monthly higher low for quite some time, and I still am, but have shifted from trying to be aggressive to trying to just wait for bulls to prove something. And bulls were hopeful after this pop that it could be something, but ultimately just a megaphone. Ultimately ended up just being a megaphone. Lots of room for a daily lower high once again. Our strong names, AIOZ, up 3.4% on the day. This is a 2-day EQ bull breaker, trying to shape up a 2-week higher or 2-day higher low. Remains strong. RNDR, where are you at? Remains quite strong. Just daily uptrend, fresh daily higher low set off the 12 EMA. Watching our daily uptrend here. So if you're bullish, you are either taking low risk bottom fish off of a name that's still within its 2-day EQ. And again, to talk back to AIOZ, it didn't feel good for anybody buying down here. But when your risk to reward is so great in an equilibrium, then that's when you go for it. And now at this point, very nice move off those lows. So who do we have in our 2-day EQ still? I'm going to hyper flash through these, mainly for me. So FET, 2-day higher low. Within EQ, JUP is close to resistance, so it's not much of a bottom fish, but relative strength, where if Bitcoin confirms the rising wedge bullish, gets over the value area high, sets a monthly higher low, JUP is positioned well for it. TAO, I mean, you could bottom fish, but relative weakness is pretty notable, and that's been the case here, so I wouldn't necessarily advise it. BNB, weekly EQ continuing to tighten rather, ton trying to confirm a weekly bull flag. So this is one doing its own thing. It's not in an EQ, daily uptrend, fresh higher highs, and we're just looking at all-time highs here. So in the ranks with Pepe, where this is a clear relative bull, like you wouldn't know Bitcoin's consolidating on the monthly by looking at this chart. Sol we'll talk about independently on its own. I'm looking for 2-day EQ bottom fishers. Let me get back to the 2-day. I suppose you could do INJ, SUI's weak, SEI's weak. Where are just straight up 2-day EQs? GMT, new lows. AVAX is a 2-day EQ where you could be bottom fishing the lows. Matic, 2-day EQ where you could be bottom fishing the lows. Theta, AAVE, AXS, these are all the same chart. So if you want to be a bull and have a bit more of a contrarian and like conservatively aggressive approach, you can be bottom fishing these EQs. But if you want to be a more comfortable bull, you're just playing our relative bulls. You're just playing our relative bulls long. Link, 2-day EQ. Let's check in on Link BTC. That was getting tight. It's looking to break bear. So if Link BTC breaks this bear, then I'm not that interested in the Link bottom fish on the 2-day EQ. It can certainly work out still, but it's just probabilities. It's just probabilities, and this shifts probabilities if we get another nugget of downside. Where the heck did we go? Lost us on the list. Phil, same thing. OP's doing its own thing. TIA's doing its own thing, or really TIA's breaking it bare. It was the 2-day EQ, it's breaking bare, and the more that break bare, the greater the odds that the others will follow. So we'll see if we're talking next stream, because right now we have our strong names and our weak names and our undecided names. If things shake out in the next 4 days, 3 days, then we might be able to just say, these are our bears and these are our bulls. So right now, names that are still in EQ, undecided which team they're on. Obviously, if you're closer to support than resistance, you're pretty close to team bear. But yeah, we'll have to see how it shakes out, because there's not cut and dry clarity at this point. So let's go back and we'll talk about Sol, and we'll talk a little bit more about the meme coins, and then we'll see what y'all are looking at. So Sol, if you remember from last stream, had this daily EQ and said what bulls would want in an ideal situation following a bear break is a lack of follow through to set up the psychology of a cup and handle, and that's looking like what we've got going on here. So keep an eyes on that. Bull's going to be looking for a 4-hour high or low. Anytime you break support, that's the go sign for bears. If it's not and you V-shape back up, that tells you what you got going on under the hood. So 4-hour high or low on scout for Sol to try to join our bulls in the names that have done what RNDR, AIOZ have done in breaking these ranges to the upside. Take a quick peek through our other meme coins. Let's check on SHIB because that was another 2-day EQ that we were talking about bottom fishing last stream. And, you know, it's a green day here. We've got the strength from the meme mania in the market in general, but, you know, still in EQ. Tough to get too jazzed. And now at this point, you know, the time to enter these EQs is near the lows in terms of what is your most favorable risk to reward opportunity there. So that has come and gone as far as favorable risk to reward. And you might be saying like, well, how could I have known? And I know everybody misses Dan. I miss Dan too, but I promise you, he's still here. And this is this morning at 9:07. Watch meme coins because we got this GME craze, and all this and that. So Dan's still around. If you need more Dan in your life, check out the chart guys. And actually, we're doing free trials right now. It's on a limited basis. So we've been rolling out waves of them. I know I've talked about them on stream a little bit, but if anybody wants a free trial, you gotta DM me on Twitter with a drawing of, what do we want to see a drawing of? Let's how about a drawing of Roaring Kitty, the dude with the red bandana, the GME legend, absolute just king of kings. So here's my Twitter, JungleFunk_. Your drawing doesn't have to be good. There's cool stuff on here, like long in GME a week ago, selling it this morning, and now shorting the capitulation top for an absolute banger. So it's not just here to send your drawings to, but yeah, DM me a drawing of Roaring Kitty. I need to rate it at least a 3 out of 10, 6 out of 10 in effort, and you can get a 14-day free Chart Guys trial, and it's read only, but you can see everything that's going on. So yeah, Dan, as usual, absolutely on top of the kind of like meta concepts of these games. Dude's a legend. So SHIB still tightening up. WIF ultimately still tightening up. Bonk is tightening up. And Doge doesn't have a lot of clarity. Doge, I think I'm looking at like the 2-day. If bulls can confirm a 2-day uptrend, then we'll say it's back on the menu. We got a little bear break without follow through here. Nice move. That's the sucker punch. You need the trend change. So that's what I'm looking at. What's Jasmine doing? Another just tightening range. I think, what's the name of it? ONDO? Is that a coin? Yeah, another really nice tightening range here. And this is within proximity of blue skies. So decent one to be watching. I feel like I kind of got INJ vibes on this, where it's been a lead bull for so long, and this tightening range perhaps is going to break bear for monthly consolidation. Because if we go back and look at INJ, we saw it with SEI as well, SUI, and that's just rotation. And that's a normal market concept. But INJ, lead bull for so long, tighten up, tighten up. This one was a little clearer with the bull break without follow through. And then once we broke that support, we knew it was over, over temporarily till the monthly higher low shapes up. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Let's see what y'all are looking at. What up, Omar? Star Paco. Pepe USD index is best over BTC USD. Manual ratio hit all-time high. The Bitfinex one is inaccurate. That's what bulls want to see. You want to see, to really believe something fully, you want to see your BTC ratio as well as your USD pairing, both getting resistance breaks. And that goes for stocks as well. Like a good one, that's not it. Tesla QQQ. We had a really great triple top. Actually, we had a couple of them. Which one am I thinking of? I think this one, where the USD pairing was continuing up, but the ratio couldn't get it going, and then we had the same thing here. We had a double top here. You want to see your ratios come along with the USD pairing to believe it, whether you're doing stocks, commodities, crypto. It's easier in crypto because a lot of people are trading from Bitcoin to it, so you actually have some volume behind it. But ultimately, I find that the signals are quite similar on both of those. Let's see, Cedric wants to know, is GME an hourly bull flag? I don't think we've had hourly consolidation technically. Oh, we have. Yeah, it could be. I like the 30-minute here right now, though. Just 12 EMA, little tightening range, bull break, and bulls are going to try to close as close to high of day as they can and try to get some after-hours squeeze. I mean, y'all remember from back here, a lot of the action happened after hours throughout a lot of this stuff. So that's what bulls are eyeing, and the closer to high of day that you can close, the better off you are for that. The better off you are for that. Let's see. Sono F. Gondor. Where do you think BTC is headed over the next 2 to 4, or rather, are the charts forecasting for BTC over the next 2 to 4 weeks? I don't know, man. It's not really my jam, to be honest. We get new info every day. So if bulls confirm a daily uptrend, I'd say I think we have better odds of being bullish than bearish over the next 2 to 4 weeks. But until then, I don't know. In some contexts, I would say that I'm going to take the opposite stance of I think we'll be lower then because the trends are down in the intermediate term. But because we have a falling wedge and these lower lows aren't seeing follow through, it's kind of tough to say that like, oh, I think bears are going to show up and break this falling wedge to the downside. So that brings up another important thing. Like I have zero shame saying, I don't know. And most of the time, that's going to be my answer with a dated projection like that, because my shtick is basically figuring out what the different timeframes are doing and then figuring out what the smaller timeframes would need to do to signal change on the larger timeframes. And we're kind of just in a tweener spot where I don't really know. I don't really know. I know what bulls need to do to prove it, and I know what bears need to do to prove it. And most of the time, I'm waiting for one of those two things to happen, and then I just get with the picture. And it's important to recognize when we're not in that spot where you have the clear picture. Let's see, Ryan V, checking out that Doge 5-minute back burner. And this will be an important thing. If these back burners start hitting on these meme coins, which that's a hit. That's a hit on Doge. Let me get up the official TCG back burner. You'll love to see it. So, you know, if you've been at this for a while, maybe the indicator isn't the most helpful thing, but if you're like trying to get this stuff under your belt, we've got an indicator that basically takes into account when the back burner is valid. And it puts the red line out there for you. And this is a textbook example of how that's working. So that's what bulls want to see. We get clues from retracement size, we get clues from our trends, but we also have those next layer clues from our back burners hitting. What does volume look like? What are correlated names doing? And back burners and evaluating response to oversold levels on various timeframes give us clues about what we got going on. So bulls love to see that. Swift Turtle, thank you. I appreciate it. Glad you're finding some value. Death Star 1 loves dancing with the devil. Shocker with a name like that. Actually, Death Star 1, is that I'm going to out myself right now. I don't know how to put it. I personally use words that I can't say on stream, but I'm a weirdo. Never seen Star Wars, never seen Star Trek. I don't know. I feel like that's a reference to one of those. I was thinking like death. Oh, I'm not even reading it right. It's Darth Star 1. I'll go Star Wars 85% and unrelated to any devil comment. All right. Yeah, Sage, absolutely. Huge downfall of day trading is that it takes up your life. Like you get big gains and you get freedom financially, but to be a day trader, you need to put in minimum 10,000 hours before you start rocking and rolling. And then even more if you want to be like a G with it. So swing trading, that's what I said at the beginning. Swing trading is the way for 90 whatever percent of people, because you can still make gains. You can still make fantastic gains, especially in the crypto space where things being idiotic is the norm. Yeah. Let's see. AMC has a massive gap to fill at 45. Could go nuts. Yeah, maybe. Dude, me and AMC used to be buds. Wow, that's a nice day. We used to be buds, but we're no longer buds. I took a huge loss on AMC back here. Basically, we were super extended on the all-time low break. I thought this isn't going to see follow through, and it saw follow through. So after that, I was just like, I'm fine if I never trade AMC again. I'm down to get back into it now, though. And that's another thing where it's like, if we've got psychological baggage with a name, like, don't trade it. But eventually, like everything, time heals. And I don't feel bitterness towards AMC, but I haven't looked at it in a long time. As far as looking for a gap up at 45, I mean, we got 8 gaps before that. I would just go one at a time. Wow. Yeah, that's a pretty nice day there. Let's see. Daily trend changes mark the top 3 times on ETH daily chart. Not shocking. That's why we use these trends. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of discretion with it, Sage. Dan's watching a falling wedge. I'm watching a falling wedge. A bunch of chart guys, folks are watching a falling wedge. It's more for the psychology on my hand than any specific line. And I think objectively we can say no follow through on lower lows and no follow through on lower lows. That's the psychology of a falling wedge. And it is an inverse head and shoulders as well. You can have both of these things. And let's see here. Just to show that that's a decently common thing. Let me pull up something from the chart guys here. So this was just here today. Karkuki talking about a monthly head and shoulders on Apple. And I was saying how decently common to see wedges turn into head and shoulders and watching the same thing. And this is a post from back in January looking for this rising wedge to break bear on Apple. It obviously has at this point. And now we're looking for the potential that wedge turns into a head and shoulders. So most of the stuff is not cut and dry and will rarely be cut and dry. And if you approach it with a cut and dry mindset, it's more difficult to navigate. All right, Star Pakro. What tips would I give on trading CPI? Stair steps, small time frame stair steps. That's how I trade them. And after multiple years of studying FOMC, CPI, PPI, with multiple years before that of doing earnings reactions and stocks after hours, I've pretty much settled on short time frame stair steps. You'll see it all of the time. And one of my key rules with stair steps is you need to give at least 2 attempts and no more than 3 attempts. And if you approach it with that mindset and look for some other piece of confluence, you're probably going to have a good time. And if you don't, you stop out and you don't lose a lot. So I care so much more about that than I do about context of where we're at. I like to have a little directional bias. So like if we dump on CPI on NQ, then if we dump down to daily, or let me get to daily. If we dump down to daily 12 EMA and we're breaking daily higher low support with 15-minute RSI super extended, 5 super extended, then that's when I'm down to take a stair step. But I really don't care a ton about the location of these things. And that's just me, because there's so much opportunity in the small time frame navigation stuff. You can get a stair step on the 1 minute with 15 points risk that bounces 50 points to the 1 minute 12 EMA. Do I care that we're not coming off of like some super ripe contextual location? No, because I just bagged 50 points. So that's my mindset with it. I'm just looking to get that stuff going. If we are in a key location, then that is when I say, all right, well, I'm going to leave behind 25% of this position for a potential swing trade. Everybody's going to be different though. Dylan Valentine, yeah, you can create said drawing with whatever PG rated means you are into. Don't give me any weird stuff. But AI, pencil, pen, crayon, ripping up paper, doing collage style, that's fine. That's all fine. Quiet Atheist 20, my pleasure. Thanks for tuning into the live streams. Let's see, we'll look at chess real quick and we're going to wrap it up. I've never heard of this coin, so I'm interested. Kind of a stinker, my friend. This is in our very weak category. We're back down at the lows. You certainly could be bottom fishing. It technically is a bit of a wedge since we broke that marginally without follow through. But any plays on this, I would be looking to get risk free relatively quick. And it will likely depend on, like, does Bitcoin break its wedge bullish and we see a weekly lower high on Bitcoin dominance to have all of these alts end up playing catch up. I think that's what's needed for something like this. Looks like I did miss another one, BCHG. What is this? This is a grayscale. So weekly bull flag off. No, we'll go 2-week bull flag off 12 EMA. 2-week 12 EMA has been our guide. And daily EQ. That needs to break bullish to shape up the 2-week higher low. And let's see, this is holding on way better than BCH, which I think is the norm for these. Yeah, it's holding on way better than BCH itself. These grayscales typically do that. Yeah, a quick look into ADA. Nothing going on. Nothing going on. 2-day, 12 EMA. Bull's got to get up and over for anything to change. And really, I would just be looking at ADA BTC, knowing that we've got to get over 2-day 12 EMA for anything to change. So it's the same deal. We're looking for a yearly higher low, just doing the 6-month to be quick. Big EQ. We know there is ammo for ADA to come back onto the map, but double top. Bulls needed to break that and get follow through. Come back down, and now we're pushing back down to new lows. So ADA just going to be a turd until that shifts. Let's see, how does someone choose stocks for day trading? Do you have any specific tips or criteria? I'm basically just trading the like Magnificent Seven and then whatever's hot, like GME, cannabis. But keep in mind, I don't day trade stocks often. I only day trade stocks when there's like a chance for a month maker, like GME today. I'm a futures trader. I do gold, oil, silver, ES, NQ, RTY, natural gas, wheat, corn, soybeans. That's where the bulk of my volume is. And then I just come out of the woodworks for GME, CGC, MSOS, NVDA. I swing trade stocks. And that's also pretty much the Magnificent Seven, or like I've got a banger on Zim right now. I can't believe it's still going. It's so difficult for me not to sell this because we're hitting historic daily overbought, which is just, that's my jam. But I'm in from, what day was it? I believe it was this day. We had a 971. Hold on a second, just so people don't think I'm full of hooey. Yeah. So that's my Zim average at 971. It must have been this day. I think I pretty much bought the top. Or maybe it was the next day. It didn't feel great for a couple days, but total banger. What else do I got? I got NVDA, I got Tesla, I got TCNNF. I just sold my GME this morning, and that's the stable for the time being. That's the stable for the time being. Let's get back to chat. Yeah, OG Itchy, it's okay not to know, man. It's the important thing is admitting when we don't know. Let's see, Tomato says, I noticed a stock writing EMAs on 2 different time frames, such as the daily or weekly. Which one is more important for swing trading perspective? It depends on your time horizon for it. If you're trying to swing trade for like if you're trying to hold something for several months, then you probably care more about the weekly. If you're just trying to hold something for several weeks, you probably care about the daily. But you can care about both. You can say, I'm going to keep my full position size as long as daily 12 EMA support. And if we lose daily 12 EMA, I'm going to lock in half or hedge out half. And then I'll take my hedge off when we get back to weekly 12 EMA and then be full bull again. All right. That's all I've got. Again, if you haven't followed me on Twitter, give me a follow on Twitter, junglefunk_. Get a bit of an unfiltered funk there. If you are interested in a Chart Guys free membership to see what's going on here, and this is more stuff. So laggard play for BB, looking for a new high of day. Give me just a second. I'm going to make sure nothing wonky shows up when I search this. It's like going through your phone photos with a relative. You're just like, let me turn to the side here for a moment. I just had it. How do I get this? I guess I'll just pull it over here. So this is a post from Lori talking about AMC getting some ape love, and this is pre-market. We're talking 855. And then I come in here as well, watching BB. It's a nice daily tightening range. Let's see, I haven't actually looked at the chart for it. But that's actually not that great. But still 10% on the day. No, I mean, AMC is clearly the star there. But the Chart Guys is awesome. I'm telling you. It's awesome. So that's all I've got. 90 people, 40 likes. If you can hit the like button, I'd appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. If you don't like the content, you can unsubscribe. Very low commitment. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate you spending some of your afternoon with me. And let's see what future brings. Pepe's in the limelight right now. 17%. Let's see. Bull's looking for an hourly high or low. It's now set. So that's the main meme coin. And if we're talking like big gains, then all of the mega degenerates on Sol Chain, Base Chain, Degen Chain, that's where you're seeing like the multiple thousands of percentages. So I was gonna get into that, but I just didn't want to dedicate the bandwidth to learning some new stuff. So I can't really speak from experience over there. But another thing with the Chart Guys, we got a room dedicated to that. And Karam in here talking about Kitty up 3,800%. There's like a GME token there. There's all sorts of smut on there, but big time gain potential. Yo, what up, 2%? Thanks for tuning in, brother. Happy to have you here. That's a Chart Guys member, recent member who's enjoying it. So it seems. All right. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Manage your risk. Have some fun. And I'll see you probably Thursday. Farewell.